Hello everyone, this is Uthris here, looking at the title screen for a new Steam Early Access game, Medieval Engineers. It's from the developers Keen Software House, the same people that made Space Engineers. They took the engine and kind of made it fit a more of a medieval theme, and that's something I've been looking forward to for quite some time. I got my hands on it when it first came into early access about a week ago. They had a one-day sale, and I got it then. I've been messing around with it a little bit since. I already have a little bit of a castle built. I plan on making a little series following me through the whole building process and dealing with structural integrity and faults in the just building mechanics in general, and overcoming to create something that looks fairly realistic and just nice to look at. So without further ado, I'll just go ahead and load up the world that I have, and this is already on the workshop. I released a quick little upload of it about a week or so ago of the castle I built, and it was in a temporary location. And so we'll go ahead into this loading screen here. The loading screens seem to take a little bit of a long time, but that also could just be because I'm using the large terrain map, and there's just a lot of things to try and load in, and the physics of everything trying to settle. So hopefully I won't have to use a jump skip here, but we'll see, and have to wait it out as everything loads in. The castle, I'm calling it Lothloria. If you have a better name, let me know down in the comments, and we'll see if anyone picks something cool, or if they like Lothloria, I'll stick with it. Names change. It is what it is. So we're already spawned here inside the main hall to the castle, but before I walk in all the way, I'll just go ahead and give you an outside view of what I got going on. So we'll go ahead and zoom out, and this is what I have. If you've seen the workshop copy that's out there, you'll notice that it's moved up on top of this hill, but it was over here when I was initially designing it and building it, putting it together, making sure the structural integrity would actually hold its shape. It took a couple hours to actually get this whole roof section over here to be able to stand without just breaking floors beneath it. And I'm thinking there's some bugs with the flooring interfering with structural integrity and how it behaves, but I was able to work around it, and it is completely freestanding. There shouldn't be any cracks or any weaknesses that I know of. You never know, a wall could just fall down at any moment, which would be pretty awesome to see. This thing is wonderful to destroy. I've seemed to do that more often than actually build on it. So we'll go ahead and just fly around real quick. The main hallway here is the grand entryway. That's where we actually started the video at. And then the living quarters is over here, covered in roof. It's where all the lords and ladies would be, of course, in the fancier side. Back here, this is more like a storehouse, an armory, a blacksmith's is what I was kind of going for, a chimney-like structure, and wooden roofs. That it just breaks the red up, because if there's too much red, you run into a problem. It just all looks the same, and I like kind of more of an asymmetrical design in that sense. Here in the workshop build, you'll notice that it's more of like a training yard, and it will be again. It's just when I moved and copy and pasted the castle over here, the ground, of course, is still grassy, and then there would be a little bit of an archery range right here. On the opposite side, this side would still remain a garden, and that's kind of the goal. I wish they had like a well for me to put in the center here, because I think that would fit in really nicely. So, something in the center there to make it a little bit more decorative. The whole mountainside I'm working on sculpting right now. As you can see, you kind of block in large forms, and then as you go, you refine it and smooth it down. You get things like this, and you get kind of more of a natural rock face, mixing in some different textures. These rocky grass textures are good for just breaking up the rocks and making it look a little bit more believable. I have some more work to do down here. The trees, I'm finding to be a bit of a hassle to work around. You have to like blow them up and then bury them is kind of how I've been dealing with it, because they don't really despawn. And I wish there was a button to like clean up everything, every like particle, and that way the game would just keep running smoothly without having to worry about any of the physics. I'm getting a weird texture glitch right here. I don't know really what's causing it. If I could get out of the tree. It goes away when I get really close, but as soon as I back away, it just kind of pops back in. I don't know what's causing that. I've messed with all my graphics settings, and it just seems to just be an issue that I had to deal with and keep making the castle move on. So the game was updated once it came out here on the 19th, and they added a bunch of new blocks that I didn't have access to before. So I'm gonna have to go in and rework some areas to make things fit a little bit better. If you look here, the stone pillars here, you bring up this menu by pressing G, and these weren't in the game, nor were any of these decorative items down here, from like furniture, chests, barrels, to a statue. I've actually never seen this before. What does this look like? It looks pretty boss. So I mean, you know, it's something that could potentially go right there. It's definitely kind of a spot for some type of figurehead ornamentation. I could put it in the garden as well on the side. That might be something interesting, but it probably doesn't really fit in. It's also sinking halfway into the ground. It just might be too big for the space. I think that's the problem I'll run into with that. So we'll go ahead and delete that. So the front here, everything here is just kind of for looks. Of course, I mean, these arches do support some of the structure. I mean, it is pretty heavy right here, and you get a nice little outcrop that you can, you know, get out of the sun. You can kind of hang out. This is just for looks, and it's just, you know, fun to build things like this for me. We'll walk in. You can access both towers immediately upon walking in. From a defensive standpoint, probably not the best thing in the world, but this is more like a palace anyways. This is kind of like the last line of defense, and it's not really meant to be keeping all the invaders out. If they get this far, you're pretty much gonna lose anyways. This is just kind of the last stand area. Over here we have a multi-tiered grand hall is what I was going for. So you can walk through. We have a bunch of supporting pillars to hold up the weight, and arches into the... I believe I'm going to make this into some sort of dining area with a throne, especially now that they've added tables. I think they're over here. And, you know, I might line some tables up on both sides, like so. Put some chairs on them. That way, you know, people will have a place to eat, gather, and hold some type of feast for the lord of the castle. Up here, of course, we'll have our thrones and maybe some banners off on the ceilings. These areas here, they're just there's not really a roofing tile that fits these yet, or anything that I can really do to seal that off. I might be able to use a square edge version of this round column, but it's just, I don't think it'll look very good. But it's just one of those things I'll just have to test and play with. Everything's kind of a work in progress. As long as it's standing right now, I'm pretty happy with it. Over here, we'll move into some of the basic storage rooms. Anything from like food storage. Once that's added, I think that would be a really nice feature to have farms and actually processing grain. Because I mean, if you have a windmill, you might as well be able to process some grain. And this area, I was thinking about being a kitchen and some more storage. Servants could be eating here, you know, just on the lower end of the castle. Then you go up these stairs into the actual kind of living area. You have a couple of floors to work with. You have a couple little spaces that you can flesh out. I haven't really decided what each room will be, but that's kind of just open to imagination right now. I really should turn this into there's a different version of these stairs that's not circular. It's more has a sharp edge to it, and that'll actually fill in that gap there. In fact, I'll do that here a bit later. Let's see. We have a balcony with a wonderful view of the mountainsides and a bit of the forest. This is kind of like their private balcony. The public balcony would be more overlooking the garden, and you can gather here, talk about the day, plans, you know, just hang out with friends once multiplayer is added. It's kind of what I'm hoping for. You have some more rooms. This would be maybe a visitor's room. You know, you can have spare bedrooms for guests. Then we'll go over to one of the hallways on the second level. You can see down into the main court, and you can overlook any gathering that's going on over there. Maybe assassinate a king if that's kind of your style, crouch down, you know. If only there was a crossbow. Bunch of towers, stairwells. These things hold up a bunch of the weight, most of the weight of the actual castle. This, I guess I shouldn't just walk by it and ignore it, because I'm just so used to seeing these now. This is just things that you had to deal with the roofing and how it works. So if you go outside here, I have this cone on top because I have a rounded wall section down here, and to make this work I had to match it on the other side to bring it all the way around, and it just clips through, and it's just something, you know, I almost wish there was a cut tool, because there are physics. I mean, I wish you could just kind of cut a line and this drop off and you just have a clean cut where you want, and that would be a really nice addition in my opinion. Some of these blocks you can't enter. I don't know why. I think there's some type of glitch where, because you can put blocks inside blocks on this one, that it might think there's actually a full block here, but it's just it's just early access. That's all I can say, and really not a big deal. There's so many access points up here that it's not too much of a problem. As long as it looks nice, that's kind of what I'm going for. This tower gave me so many troubles. It was collapsing like all the time because, you know, it's holding up this whole corner here, and there was just too much weight at one point, so I had to trim it down, make it a little bit smaller, and just basically had to compromise my vision of the tower to actually what was physically possible. If you go back here, my plans for this is actually going to be some type of well, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, the archways into gardens, they usually have these plants growing over these wooden beams, and I want to maybe use the grass terrain tool to make it look like some flowers are growing up on top of these wooden beams, and you're going to have some ivy on that, and I think that'll be pretty nice looking. It's the only section over here. Mainly designed this to hold up more weight from the roof. It was causing this almost whole wall to collapse, and so I just thought the easiest fix would be add some buttresses and then add some wooden beams to break up the stonework and make it look a little bit more unique to fit in with the rest of the design. If you go over here, you can actually go inside the storehouse blacksmith armory, whatever you want to call it right now, and you can see you have a couple rooms, high ceilings. You know, you can store stuff all the way up to the roof. That would be pretty nice. Just a nice place to store. It's surrounded by grass. It's the only outside structure within the walls, which I think is you know, interesting. It's new. It's the only part of the castle like this, and so you can walk around. I might throw in some different textures on the actual grass. That way, it's just not all, you know, daisies and flowers throughout, because it's just a little boring. And then you can go out into the other courtyard. That'll be the training grounds. So that's pretty much my castle at the moment. And you can download the early version on the Steam Workshop if you want to go walk around a little bit. It's pretty much identical to this. It's just this area that's a little different, and these walkways were wooden at some point, but it just couldn't hold up the weight, and it was just collapsing on me. It's about 90% structural integrity on the Steam Workshop, so you'll just have to play around and see what you think. On these towers, I'm not 100% sure what I want to do with them yet, but as you can see, you can mount either a defensive catapult here or defensive trebuchet overlooking the forest, and hopefully target the enemy siege engines with yours before they are able to get a shot off, and that's kind of the point of that. Over here I want some type of utilitarian buildings, either a barracks, something that'll fit on this side. I need to work on building a lift up the mountain, because right now it's there's really no way to climb this thing. There is a little path over here, but eventually I think that'll be towered off and walled off to where you just won't have access on this side, or at least you might be able to, but it just would be easier to take the lift at that point. But anyways, this is Uthris, and thanks for stopping by, and hopefully I'll have another video out with me actually working on the castle here soon.